Good evening. Christina Rossetti once said, "For there is no friend like a sister, in a calm or stormy weather, to cheer one on the tedious way, to fetch if one goes astray, to lift one if one totters down, to strengthen whilst one stands." But Christina forgot one line, to torture when one is young. I wouldn't be here tonight speaking with you if my sister and I weren't best friends today. But to be honest, it wasn't always like that. In fact, when we were younger, it was much like she was a Montague and I a Capulet, and we were biting thumbs at each other. Our teenage years were fought with physical fights that could actually be of epic proportions, as well as scarring. In fact, there was one time when we were teenagers, I snuck into her bedroom and stole her Tool CD. Well, I played it as loud as humanly possible from my room as a challenge to her. Come at me if you dare! Oh, she dared. She stormed into my room full Viking force to take back her CD, and I was not about to let her take her rightful property, so I fought back with full red-headed fury. And that fight ended with her getting a scar on her arm and a deal that would make any mob boss proud. I would buy her a new CD. Oh yeah, because that got broken in the fight. And I would pay her a specified sum of money and be her servant for all eternity if she would not tell our parents where the mark on her arm came from. And that deal worked for about 2 years, till one day her boyfriend at the time told our parents that the scar actually hadn't come from a skateboarding incident, but actually from right here. And it turns out that there is no statute of limitations when it comes to parents and grounding their children. Well, our teen years were wrought with fights like that. And our poor little brother Ian was the pawn. Whoever won Ian's favor won the fight. And it may be of no surprise to many of you that my sister was and is a much better diplomat than I was or ever could be. And her room was a whole lot cooler than mine. So, needless to say, she won many fights. Well, eventually, Phaedra moved off to Chicago and left Ian and I in Kansas. And I would go up to Chicago and visit her. And eventually, that hatred became tolerance sprinkled with laughter. And after college, she got married and moved to the East Coast, and I moved to the West Coast. And that tolerance became camaraderie as we were both young women exploring opposite coastlines. Along the way, we found each other. We found a friendship that people had always threatened us with. Eventually, you and your sister will be best friends. And they were right. From opposite coasts, we'd have movie watching parties. We'd stay up late talking to each other on the phone, text each other while we were at work. If I had a hard time buying groceries, I didn't even have to ask. She would help me out. If she was having a bad day, I would send her a gift to cheer her up. Even to this day, while we're both married with children, we still talk to each other incessantly. I send her gifts throughout the day to make her laugh, and she sends me encouraging words to help me when things get tough. And in fact, if I'm on the phone with my husband and my sister calls and I go, "Hey, it's P," he just goes, "Okay, love you, bye." You know, who'd think that we'd actually eventually be in a place where we're best friends, especially considering how tumultuous our teenage years were? Who would have thought that we'd eventually both be married with children and have husbands named Chris, who understand that our laughter while watching a dramatic movie and our constant texting is actually probably because, oh wait, sorry, my sister just said something so funny. Well, life with your sister might be intolerable right now. Believe me, I know how hard it can be. Someday, your sister will probably need you, or more likely, you are going to need your sister, and you'll become best friends. In fact, that's what I hope for anyone in this room who has a sister. I hope that you two, or 3 of you, or how many sisters you have, can be best friends like me and my sister have become. Thank you. Have a nice evening.